It's minicamp season, and today we're looking at the Buffalo Bills and getting a good look at Keon Coleman. Work through some drills, run some routes, catch some balls, everything else. But before you dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at practice, rookie camp, OTAs, minicamp, training camp, everything in between, so you know what your players look like behind the scenes, those rookies, those position battles. Guys, you're getting ready to draft in fantasy football. Click that button. Stop missing out. We're looking at Keon Coleman here today. Not many clips. The Bills beat writers have been slacking a little bit on the clips with some of these players. They've been more diverse this year, but last year they're a little bit more hot and heavy. We're going to run through these, loop them, and keep talking ball because the Bills are getting pretty interesting here. Not just Keon Coleman, but we're going to talk about the peripherals as well. There's him. And the one thing you'll notice, and it's been blowing up social media, is that he looks like he's been hitting the weights. Looks like he's been hitting the weights. And honestly, it looks like it's not just angles. It looks normal enough to where it's actually kind of true. And he looks thicker. Another thing, just gauging from his interviews after practices, coming in demon mode, working on the route running. Talking about he watched a film of himself last year, did not like it, working hard on that. And what we saw from him from Florida State and prior at Michigan State is a wide receiver that gets deep downfield, good contested catch ability, would work well with Josh Allen, would work great with Josh Allen over time. The peripherals here. Elijah Moore's been looking good in camp. He's been looking solid. And that's a wide receiver. Like, he's just played with two weird teams, the Jets and the Browns. Think about that. And he had a good prospect profile coming out of college. Good production metrics, good athleticism score. He was able to do some stuff with those teams, like production-wise, if you're not really in the thick of it for fantasy. In deeper leagues, you're probably not realizing it, but he had some games last year where he had over a 20% target share. He was getting some opportunities in that offense. He's a guy that can move around the offense and create separation. Could end up being a good role player for a team. Palmer, he's been out practicing. That's another guy that fits well with Josh Allen. He's very dependable. Good at breaking off routes. Like, he's a dependable wide receiver that could carve out a role that could help Josh Allen as well. And we're going into another year here where we're looking at the Bills offense and we're wondering what's going to happen. But I believe two things. Those two wide receivers added to this team, you added veterans that can add dependability. And you got Coleman there who is developing. And we said coming out of the draft that this is probably going to be more of a longer term play, that he might be very volatile during the first year or so of his career. The thing is, though, his skill set fits well with Josh Allen. I would not be surprised if he's one of those players that either blows up or does nothing on Sunday. Like, I would not be surprised. Like, he's either cashing in deep downfield with monster catches or it's silent. And that's fine, considering you got everything else. I like Shakir. You know, we're seeing what's going on with Kincaid. We like Ray Davis. James Cook was there practicing. I think I see Davis there in the background. That being said, Keon Coleman's in year 2. He has some good things in his game to where he can help Josh Allen. How much of a step forward can we take in year 2? The biggest leaps of your development is usually year 1 to year 2 to year 3 range. Then after that, players usually table off. However, not all. But let's see what happens this year. Let's see. Now we're going to have an off season here where we're with the Bills through minicamp, OTAs, and everything else, like last year, but not a rookie. We know how things go. It's like old hat now. How can Keon Coleman develop? And he could be a monster. He could be a monster. What I would gather, considering we're adding targets to his offense, and considering last year, they had some game scripts where it was tremendously run heavy. I forget which game it was, but it was right before the half. They only had like 1 or 2 pass attempts. There was another game like that too. I believe it was that crazy Dolphins game on Sunday night or Monday night. But that game got weird. They had some weird games where the game scripts for the passing attempts were just weird. They had some other ones, but they've had some weird moments here where they just relied on running the ball a little bit. That being said, that's something to throw in there. Coleman was just a rookie. There are some games where you did not know why he wasn't out on the field or if he was even in the game. And then there was other games where he was running more routes. And that tends to happen with rookies. What I like about him is, for fantasy football, is I look at him as more of a money ball play. I look at the average depth of target. That's definitely going to be double digits. He's not a player that you're just going to just run curls with. You're going to get him downfield. And the average depth of target, and if we can get a target share up there, like if we can get more volume, then you might have something. If not, the deep ball play of him, the ball skills, is going to allow him to be a top-end volatile option. And depending on what format you're playing, say you're in a deeper format and you got to start like 5 to 7 or more wide receivers, that's a wide receiver that you throw in and you just hope he catches a big-time play. Or DFS as a cheap money ball option for your lineup. More for tournaments, not for cash. If you don't understand what I'm saying, then you may just want to just move on from that sentence. However, if you're in Dynasty, he's cheap, he's young, he's in year 2, and he can get downfield. And the depth chart, we got some reliable veterans, but still a little bit ambiguous to where if you play to your potential, you could do something. If I would have to guess, when it comes to all the range outcomes, I would guess a volatile wide receiver, probably more in the center line of everything, that has some moments throughout the season where it's silent, but also has probably about 3 to 5 wide receiver 1 weeks off deep balls. And that's over time. Once we're fully developed, that should be sometime this year to next year where we're seeing that. That should be the average of his range of outcomes. The low is complete bust, where it was like last year throughout his whole career. And the high is him just taking over and becoming a monster and becoming one of the top wide receivers in the NFL. How does that play out? Josh Allen pushing it downfield like a monster. His ball skills just being undeniable. And it just works that way. That's where it's going to look like. However, the average of all that, deep ball city, some balls are overshot, some balls are uncatchable, and then some balls we bring it in and have big weeks. And that creates volatility. That's similar to Gabe Davis, but his skill set is different, but how you score in fantasy is very similar. Deep balls downfield, hope the targets come your way in that matchup. Hope that targets are accurate because it's harder to be accurate in deep balls on average. Bring it in. You have a big matchup. Next week, they don't connect. Next week, they don't connect. The next week, we blow up. That's how it works on deep ball city players. But the hands are there. The hands are there. They're very sticky. Keon Coleman, though, looks like we developed. We had some mass this year. You got some good dependability here in the wide receiver depth chart. It's going to be interesting to see how this team looks like here in 2025. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.